Hey, my name is Matt Malone. I'm the Vice President and Director of Marketing here at CBC Bank, and I am sitting alongside our President and CEO, Mr. Ryan Warren, and our Assistant Vice President and Info Security Officer, keeping us all straight and minding our P's and Q's, Ms. Brooke Franks. Thank you guys for being here today. We're here to talk about CBC Bank. Obviously, we're very proud of what we have to offer here in the South Georgia region, and we know that there's a lot of different opportunities that customers have to choose from different banks in the area. And like I said, we're very proud of what we have to offer here when it comes to customer service and things like that. And we're here to talk about some of the things that CBC has to offer for customers and brings to the table. And I just want to jump right into this. Ryan, we'll start with you. Again, thank you guys for being here today. And we're looking forward to talking more about CBC Bank. The first thing I want to talk about is what sets CBC apart from others in terms of the deposit services and different things that we offer at CBC Bank.
Sure. Thank you, Matt. You know, it sounds cliched sometimes, but when you say it, money is a commodity. It's something that, you know, if you think about it, everybody's money is the same. It's all green. It all is worth $1. Everybody's dollar's no different than the next guy's dollar. What sets us apart is our people. And again, you hear that a lot. And nobody in advertising is going to talk about their people not being the difference. But when it truly boils down to it in a service industry like banking, our people and our ability to foster relationships, to build and to help our customers grow, separate and apart from what they already know, but on top of the fact that we bring expertise to the table on a one-on-one level at a community bank. These are people that we know, we go to church with, our kids go to school with, we live in the same neighborhoods with, and our ability to not only communicate, but to connect in that type of way and to have an understanding of our customer, I believe that's what makes us different. That's where our value lies in a community bank, and I think that's why you see, you know, so many community banks doing so well.
Brooke, you have an opportunity to sit in the main lobby of our main branch. Of course, we have different branches throughout South Georgia. We have a branch in Tifton, Moultrie, also Baytree, Hayhira, Baytree Road in Valdosta, and then, like I said, Hayhira, and then, of course, our main branch on North Valdosta Road. And you're here at our main branch, which we're shooting live from today. I wanted to ask you about some of the things that you've seen when it comes to customer experience, when you see those customers come into the bank and those big smiles on their faces and the things that they get to experience that might be a little different, like we talked about when it comes to their opportunity to connect with the different employees and the different people that they interact with as they come into the bank and do the things that they need to do on a day-to-day basis.
Sure. When customers come into the bank, we usually know their name, and we're looking forward to seeing them, and they're happy to be there, and they easily could have used the drive-through or our technology, but they decided to come in. But that's what sets us apart. We look forward to cultivating those relationships. If they bring us a need, with one direct focus, we expand on that. We take time, we talk to them. What do they really need? We start by asking questions, and we get down to, yes, their ultimate goal, they came in to open a checking account. But before they leave, we've realized their savings plan is more important. We've got them satisfied with a savings plan. We've looked at CDs, IRAs, but they leave with that checking account that they came with. But in the end, they're excited that we took the time to learn about what was going on in their life, to expand their products and services with us, expand our relationships, keeps them coming back.
And sometimes they even get to sit in on or experience a birthday celebration like we did with one of our employees over in the main lobby yesterday. So that's cool as well. Ryan, coming back to you, how do we ensure that CBC's account offerings remain, this is kind of shifting gears here a little bit, but remain competitive in the market?
Well, back to the market, we have people who are in the market. We have local people, not just, nationwide finance, nationwide monetary policy, all those things trickle down to all the banks. But when it comes to the specific needs of not just specific geographic regions of the country, but specifically South Georgia, you know, we are planted here, our management's here, our ownership's here. We understand what the needs of South Georgia, you know, are, because we have our finger on the pulse nonstop. with our people, and when you go to, it's funny, when you go to the doctor, you don't go to the doctor and ask him, hey, tell him what you need. You go to the doctor and you tell him what's wrong, and he's the subject matter expert, and he tells you what you need. It's the same thing with banking. When you come in, and Brooke alluded to that earlier, somebody might come in with a specific question about a specific account, but when you've got people who know and understand finance, who can then take and listen to your symptoms and say, here's what you need, then that's where the value lies. That's where the benefit is of having, one of the girls or guys downstairs who can take and, for lack of a better way to put it, hold your hand through a specific situation and make sure that, you can guide them in a direction that you've seen and encountered before with other customers, that you understand at a better level than they do, because maybe they haven't lived it. A lot of people, they only buy 1-2 homes in their lifetime. So to come in and when they have a question about that, they can talk to somebody who's done, 40 of those this year, and who understands what can go wrong, what can go right, how to make sure that you tailor whatever your specific need is to the product that you get. And that's where the importance of relationships and our people goes back to. When you call up here to the bank, you're not going to get an automated answering machine that's going to answer. You're going to talk to someone, and it's the same people who you're dealing with when you walk in. And again, that sounds cheesy and cliched, but it's really that simple. It's about the people.
I know that's, like I said, that's one thing. We're obviously very proud of what we have to offer at CBC Bank, and that's one of the big ones, is somebody calls the bank and they get an actual person. That's something that struck me when I had to set up Apple Pay, I think it was, on my phone or something like that. And I called expecting, I remember the first time I had to set up Apple Pay for my debit card. And I made a phone call expecting to get a generic person or whatever to set the thing up, because I wasn't completely sure how the process worked. And it was in the building next door. Somebody picked up the phone and they helped me set it up. That was an awesome experience. Let's talk about Brooke. Ryan mentioned, people coming in and something, that you might have to do 40 different times throughout the course of the year. You've been with CBC a long time now, which is awesome. What are some of the features and different things that you will share with a customer that you maybe highlight and make sure that they understand and know about when they come in, maybe to set up an account for the first time or different things like that? What are some of those things that you like to share with them and make sure that they understand and are familiar with as a new customer?
Well, I like to highlight our security products. That's kind of something that I have to focus on a lot every day. So I really like to highlight different apps that we have that are offered to our customers that help you stay on top of all of your debit card activity. Our online banking security is exceptional. Again, it goes back to the community bank. We are a community bank. Nothing is just blindly assigned. Everything is scrutinized. We take extra care with our customers. It's very important to us. We've gone to the level of creating special security procedures within the bank, just dealing with our customers over the phone. So you can trust that we are going to do everything we can to protect your information. So I do like to highlight that to our customers. Something that really excites me is when we have a young person, they've got their first job, and their mom or dad brings them in to open their first account. So I like to take special time with that young person. I like to show them the deposit slip. I like to talk about what less cash received means, the importance of your signature, how to fill out a check. So, and now in my life, I'm kind of in that phase too, where I have someone that, we're trying to teach in those ways. But it's important that the parents see that we are here to help teach their child how to be a smart, conscientious customer, how to balance, how to utilize the bank to the fullest. And I think it's just full circle, because usually that parent has been a longtime customer and they trust us with their banking, and now they're bringing in their child, and they can see that, it's being passed along.
I know that's probably a pretty rewarding experience as well, when you kind of see that light bulb go off and, you see those things develop over the course of time with new customers, especially young ones like you're talking about. Ryan, let's talk about when it comes to deposit accounts, What are some things that CBC offers and maybe some unique benefits that go into those deposit accounts?
Sure. I mean, you know what I mentioned earlier, the thing that's going to set us apart is service. And that's always at the crux of who we are at CBC and what we try to do to set ourselves apart. So I can't stress that part of it enough. I mean, you know, we're not the only bank in the world that has a checking account. We're not the only bank in the world that has money market accounts and loans and all the things that we do here. But our ability to set ourselves apart and to provide that service. But one thing that's been a big part of allowing us to grow is in the world of fintech. You know, for a long time, fintech was perceived as a threat to the community banks. And I actually think it's been the opposite effect. What fintech and a lot of the financial technology products that are out there, you know, Brooke, 6 years ago, if we'd have talked about, mobile banking and how important that was to our delivery system, yeah, it was good, and it was a cute little frilly product that, you know, the techie nerds liked. And now it's all we do. It's what everybody uses. And our ability to use the technology that's out there has actually put us on the same plane with some of the big banks. It's actually allowed us to say, wait, we've got all these bells and whistles because of technology. We can give you what they can give you. But we can do it with the same personal touch, the same relationships. One thing that Brooke mentioned earlier, and I'd like to add on to, you know, when we do run into certain situations, and we always try to do it right, and we make an important emphasis on doing it right. But let's face it, we don't always get it right. And the good news is when you're small like we are, we're small enough, we can recognize that and we can implement a change quickly. You know, it doesn't have to go through Delaware, or it doesn't have to go through the West Coast office to get approved when you need to make a change. And in the world of finance, there's been so much change with technology the last 10 years. There's been so much change as far as the existential threats that exist, which we deal with every day. And to be able to make decisions quickly and on the fly that impact our customers. I mean, I can think of lots of examples recently where we've had specific situations to where we go, yeah, this is going to be a big deal, and we need to go ahead and be on top of that. And we can do it, and we can do it quickly. So to me, you know, that's what really can set us apart.
Brooke, kind of leaning into that a little more, you know, obviously in any situation, maybe especially banking, or I don't know if I'd say especially banking, but in every situation, there's always going to be some challenges and different things that come along the way, some problems that customers might run into, or unexpected things that come along. I was wondering if maybe you could tell us about maybe not a specific example. I know we have to be careful about leaning in too far with specific examples, but if you could talk about the approach that we have at CBC Bank when it comes to problems that customers might face along the way, whether it be fraud or other things like that, and how we're equipped to deal with those situations and how we go about dealing with those situations.
Well, one thing in particular, and Ryan did mention it briefly, was check fraud. That has been a huge thing that has come to the forefront in the last 2 years. Yeah. And it has affected a lot of people on a personal level, on a business level. And what we can do when we see that occur is just assure that customer that we're going to do everything we can to help them come out of this. We've had to get ahead of this because it's been not just at commercial banking company, it has been bank-wide, just community-wide, all over, really. It's just been huge. And we've had to meet a lot on the, internally to decide what's the best way to help our customers when this occurs. So we have special procedures that we've developed that can bring peace to the customer in the immediate and get them through step by step on how to overcome any loss that they may have received, or they have to come out of that old account, get into a new account. But we try to make it as painless as possible. And it is a bank-wide effort. All departments basically have their hands in that particular check fraud case when it occurs. We work as a team, and the customer, we like to think that the customer at the end of the process is pleased with what we've done.
Sure.
It's never it's always tough when you're dealing with a fraud situation because it's never pleasant. You know, it's like when you got an insurance claim. It's never fun to deal with because you went through a bad experience,
Sure.
you know, whether it's a wreck in insurance or whether it's a claim and a fraud loss or some type of, you know, I read last week.
But unfortunately, those things are inevitable.
Yeah, they're inevitable. And I think ultimately in the moment, a lot of times customers still leave with, you know, with a red face and mad because they have been taken advantage of by a crook. And it's no different than, you know, if you had a pistol pulled on you in the parking lot, it's theft. It's rampant. I read last week actually to where Georgia, and specifically the 3 South Georgia Metro, I think Savannah, Valdosta, and Albany, per capita were like leading the nation in check fraud examples. And it was a GBA publication I was reading this in. And back to our ability to move on the fly and to adjust to that. For example, just a few weeks ago, our compliance officer here, we hosted an area-wide symposium, I guess, here in this room with 11 different banks, and the GBI and the Secret Service were here, and it was all just coming together to try and to work out a situation where we could share information to help mitigate that risk for the banks and ultimately for the customers, because that's, you know, whether it's the bank taking the loss or the customer taking the loss or some combination of both, we're all still losing. We're not able to, our people are exposed, and that hurts us as a bank if our customers are impacted by that. And it's difficult and it's ever changing, but it's something that I feel like that our staff here does a really good job of trying to be in front of. We've recently implemented a product that the Fed offers that hopefully will help mitigate some of that.
I know when you talk about that task force, and you've seen some of the, you know, residual that's come from that, I guess, and it's encouraging as me personally, as someone who was born and raised here in Valdosta, to see the camaraderie that has come from that, and for CBC to be at the forefront of that and to kind of guide that process along is another thing that obviously we're very proud of as well.
You know, Matt, leading or tagging on to that, we've learned a lot through this check fraud process. It changes very quickly. When we think we've got a handle on it, it changes just a little bit, just enough to make us have to change all of our procedures.
Yeah, the only people thinking about it more than us are the crooks.
Yeah.
You know, they're thinking about it nonstop. They're thinking of ways to beat you, and as you put in procedures to mitigate, then they're changing and adjusting so that they can, again, that's why they're the crooks. And unfortunately, there's so much of that now.
But with that task force, there's, you know, communication happening within this community that helps combat that to an extent.
And what it's done too is it's helped us educate our customers. Safe practices, you know. It used to be checks were the greatest thing in the whole wide world. Now we're kind of saying a different anthem, but we're able to educate our customers, best practices, what to do, what not to do. And when we learn new information, we are really good about passing on that information to our customers. And they have had to change their ways, and they're thankful.
Yeah.
Especially those that have been impacted by check fraud.
Well, I think it's a representation from us that we're backing up what we're saying about caring about our customers and community and things like that. So just a couple more things I want to talk about here before we wrap this thing up. Ryan, CBC Bank has been around for a long time. Coming up in a few years now, it'll be 100 years that we'll be celebrating, which is pretty exciting. I think it's going to be in 29.
29.
Yeah, so 1929, CBC's been around that long. Talk about CBC Bank's reputation and why that might be something that a customer would want to take into account and consider when it comes to, you know, when they're making a decision about where they might want to go and who they might want to trust when it comes to handling their finances and getting help with that.
Absolutely. If you look at the history of banking, you know, we 1929. Well, most of you know what happened right after that, and that was the Great Depression.
Sure.
So we opened a bank right before the Great Depression. One thing that came out of the Great Depression was obviously FDIC insurance and the fears, because so many people lost so much money in the banking system, and the government had to adjust, and they had to take and and they had to build confidence in the banking system, and the federal government started regulating that and so forth. And a lot of things have changed since the Great Depression, obviously. But one thing that hasn't changed is people's money is something. It is their stability. It's what they perceive as can give them comfort and confidence and strength for the future, and they want that protected. I laugh because a lot of the old banks especially have the big columns on the front. That wasn't by accident. That was to show strength. It was, the front of the bank was to look like the White House because it's going to be strong and it's going to be secure. And that's obviously changed in the last, 20 years as far as because we've now a generation of customers who we've lived with a fairly confident expectation of the banking system. We went through the Great Recession in 2008, and for the most part, nobody lost money. People who owned some banks did, but no customers lost money. I mean, the federal government was able to step in, and there was FDIC insurance in place that when we went through the worst time since the Great Depression, I think people said, okay, it will still turn out okay. And now there's a lot more confidence. But what should matter is the things we went back to earlier, our ability to deliver and to know what our customers need, coupled with the strength of 100 years, the strength of ownership that has great stability here in this South Georgia region, and the knowledge that we've been here for a long time, and that just makes people more comfortable that we're going to be here for a long time going forward. There's a reason we put established 1929 because we're proud of it, and that's something that should give people confidence. I know it does me.
Brooke, I wanted to wrap up and give you the last word, I guess, so to speak. How do you encourage your customers to, maintain long-term relationships with CBC Bank? Is that something that kind of speaks for itself, or are there things that you like to share with customers when it comes to that kind of thing to instill that level of trust and things like that?
I like to remind them that we are here for them every day. They call, we answer. If they come in, we're here. We're not going anywhere. Community banking is where it's at. We have a lot of years of experience in these walls put together. We can help you. If you have any questions, we're not bankers just during the workday, but we're bankers on the weekends. I know a lot of us answer our cell phones on the weekends, or, like
always
y'all
working.
said earlier.
Always working.
Always working. That's the motto. But I think because we provide that special, intimate, intentional customer service, that really, truly sets us apart, cliche aside. It does speak for itself, and we have a lot of great customers that see that. And we've had a lot of great referrals because of that. And we're just really thankful for our customer base. We have a great team. We like to brag on each other a lot. We love each other. We have a great office culture. It bleeds over into our customer culture. We work for a great company. Come and see us, and we can help you.
See, I was worried about how I was going to wrap this thing up and just let Brooke do it for me. As Brooke mentioned, you can't really, community banking is where it's at. And we at CBC are ready to help you with anything that you need when it comes to banking. So be sure and come see us. We do have 5 branches, as I mentioned at the beginning of this. We've got one in Tifton. We've got one in Moultrie. And we have 3 here in the Valdosta area, one in Hayhira, and then one on Baytree Road, and then, of course, our main branch here on North Valdosta Road. So thanks for your time today, and thank you, Brooke, and thank you, Ryan. And we'll look forward to seeing you soon at CBC Bank.